Hey there again, Board Game Brody here with Let's Table It, where we get games to the table. Like this one here is Sauros, as in Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's a trick-taking tile placement game by Tangerine Games, as you can see right there in the corner. If you don't know what a trick-taking game is, then I'll let you leave now and kind of go figure that out and come back. Okay, you probably don't want to leave, but pretty much everyone will be playing one tile in this game in turn order, one at a time, and you have to follow the same suit, the same dinosaur in the game. Unless you don't have that type of dinosaur or color in your hand, then you can play another type, potentially what is referred to as the trump type. And that means whatever color is trump beats all other colors. And then the winner will then continue with a new tile and continue playing that way. In Saurus, you will play over a series of rounds equal to the number of players in the game. Each round consists of 7 tricks. This makes sense because each player will start each round by taking 7 random tiles from the center that has all the tiles mixed up randomly there. These 7 tiles will form your starting hand. The start player will then start the trick by randomly flipping over a tile in the center, and this tile will determine the trump for now, but only for this trick, and it's kept face up where everyone can see it. Then the starting player will choose a tile to place out. Proceeding in a clockwise direction, all other players will need to play the same suit or color as the first player unless they do not have that color. In that case, they can play any other color or choose the color of trump to potentially win that trick. Trump will win over all other suits. So any tile placed out that is not the lead color or not the trump color will lose regardless of its number value that's shown on it. There are some special tiles that can even beat trump, and let me, take some time now to mention some of those. But first, let me go over what's on these tiles and how to kind of read them. Each tile comes with a number which represents its strength. The higher the number, the more likely you will win the trick with it. It's stronger. So if a player uses a 9, which is the highest number, that usually will win the trick. But in this case, if both a 0 and a 9 are in play, the 0 is actually considered stronger than the 9. So you need to use your 0 sneakily. The 0 also has 2 scoring icons on it instead of just 1 like all other number tiles do. There are 2 T-Rex tiles. These win the trick over any trump, so a T-Rex automatically wins, but it also doesn't have any scoring icons on it. When it is flipped over and revealed as the trump tile, there is no trump for that trick. So overall, the T-Rex can be played at any time. It is considered wild, meaning it is all colors or suits and will automatically win. Once each player has played a tile, you will look to see who won the trick. Again, if trump is played, the highest trump tile wins. If no trump is played, the highest numbered tile matching the lead color or the starting color will win. After determining the winner, players will then be using their played out tiles on their player mat to score points. This starts with the winner. They get to choose 1 additional tile to place on their mat. So 2 in total for them, while all other players will place just 1. The winner will gain their played out tile plus either the trump tile or one of the other players' tiles. If the winner chooses the trump tile for their reward, then all other players will place their played out tile on their mat. But if the winner decides to take another player's tile for their reward, then that player gains the trump tile to place on their player mat. So the winner will always get 2 tiles and they get a pick, and all other players will get 1 tile, and sometimes you're stuck with what you get. As you place your tiles on your player mat, you will want to arrange them so certain tiles touch certain other tiles to determine your score at the end of the round. Each player has a unique player mat that changes where you can place tiles, and the first tile can be placed anywhere on there, but all subsequent tiles must be placed orthogonally adjacent to another placed out tile. Tiles will have its scoring symbol in the top right. You will gain points for those symbols being adjacent to each other when scoring after the round. As tiles are placed after each trick, you can, instead of placing a tile, decide to save it to be used during another trick by placing it on one of the reserve areas on the right side of your player mat. You can only place a maximum of 2 tiles per trick, which means if you gain 1 tile, you can always place one other reserve tile with it. If you win the trick, you will either place both tiles you gain during that trick, or place one of the new tiles and take one of the reserve tiles to place, and place the other new tile in the reserve. If you don't have any tiles in the reserve, you can also place one new tile and place the other in the reserve. And if you really want to, you can place both of those tiles in the reserve if you think you don't have a good setup to place them quite where you want them yet on your player board. So really, you can never place 3 tiles out after a trick ever. If it's the last trick of the round and there are no more spaces left on your player board, or you have tiles left in reserve but can't play them all, then each tile is -2 points that you wouldn't place with a maximum of 2 tiles getting that deduction. If more, then they're simply just discarded. Once all players have placed their tiles, the player who won the previous trick flips over a new trump tile and begins a new trick until all 7 tricks have been played, and after that, scoring is then done. Let's first talk about dino groups for scoring. When you have adjacent groups of the same dinosaurs, you will score points. 2 dinosaurs adjacent to each other is 1 point, 3 dinos is 3 points, 4 dinos is 5 points, and every extra dino above 4 is 1 extra point for each extra dinosaur. Eggs. The player with the most eggs scores 4 points. If players are tied for this, then all players will get the 4 points. Bones. Each bone is 1 point for each egg it is touching. So you want bones near eggs. Dinosaur tooth. Each lone tooth by itself is 2 points each. But if it's adjacent to another tooth, they are 1 point each in the group. Footprint. Each pair of adjacent footprints scores 3 points. Now, if the group is 1 or 3 or more, then they score 0 points. So you only want 2 of them together. And those are all of the icons for scoring, plus, a possible negative points for having tiles in your reserve. Players tally up their points and take victory point tokens and the value of what they counted up. Players then remove their tiles and flip them face down, mix them all up in the middle with all other tiles so you don't know what is what, and then players will all pass their player mats clockwise so you have a new mat. After making sure all the tiles are shuffled, each player randomly takes 7 new ones and a new round begins. The player with the fewest points starts the new round, and after players receive their starting player mat, the game ends and the player with the most points wins the game. If you want to play this game 2-player, you essentially have a non-human player where you will take turns randomly flipping over tiles from the center to use as their own tile. Many times this, won't match the lead suit, and that's okay. Again, the player who wins the trick takes their tile and another tile. If the non-human wins the trick, then they choose their tile and a trump tile always. They only factor in for scoring if they have the most eggs. Then the human players don't score, for the eggs if the non-human player wins it. So they won't win ever, just, cause some more interaction and more choices and tiles than if you had just 2 players playing the game. And that's Sauros, like Tyrannosaurus Rex, a trick-taking game where your choice of tiles determines what tile you will place for scoring. Although, if you win a trick, you gain 2 tiles. So really, your thinking is, what you want to do to win is to win the trick and gain a second tile and possibly then to place them. Or do you maybe lose the trick and place a different tile that might, be needed before placing others? There's a lot to it. The trick taking is still important, but it's not the entire game because scoring is done entirely by your tile placement. But the trick taking can add more tiles or get you the choice of additional tiles that you want. So it has this combination of 2 mechanics that I don't think I've ever seen together in a game. So it's, unique game where winning tricks will help, but again, it's not the only thing in this game. I'd argue that the tile placement might be even more important than the trick taking in the game. The components are solid. I mean, they look great with these great looking tiles, simple design with a strength number, a scoring icon, and then the dinosaur or suit type. The player mats are very nice, and a plus as it could be just like a cardboard player board, but these mats add a little bit more to the game, a little bit nicer. Thematically, someone did their research. I actually recently watched T-Rex 3D at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science, and it shows how the T-Rex ruled. So in this game, the T-Rex beats Trump. This beats this, but then this beats that, then that beats this. So there are circles of always being able to beat someone else in the game, and you just need to keep some of those tiles for those special occasions. The game has more to do with your decision on what tile to play and when to play it, with decisions and other things, helping you out, like winning tricks or getting some lucky flips. But overall, it's an easy to follow game with easy rules, and I'm able to, play this strategically with the game group, but also enjoy it with my kids. Again, this is Brody with Let's Table It, where we get games to the table like Saurus, this dinosaur trick-taking tile placement game by Tangerine Games. Please like and subscribe to our channel. We are working hard to bring to you videos like this one, so you know if these games here are ones that you want to get to your own table.